Welcome to our Labor Day extravaganza.
Episode 5. In honor for Labor Day weekend, this weekend, we thought we'd talk about our first jobs that we've had, what we do now, what's the craziest jobs or worst jobs we've ever had, just to make it fun and talk about things that we've done in our long career of working a really long time.
many years. That, by the way, was my interpretation of the Bruce Springsteen song Factory from Darkness on the Edge of Town. And, of course, when you do anything relating to Labor Day, you have to bring in Bruce Springsteen. And you have to play songs on the Bruce Springsteen-inspired Telecaster, which one of our children gave me a little hard time when I bought it. I knew you'd buy that guitar. So I bought it. Bruce, by the way, likes to say in interviews that he's never had a real job in his life. We've had jobs that I guess you could call real jobs, but it's been pretty bizarre.
I'll tell my very first job, it lasted a very long time actually. 9 years old. I was in the alley playing, and the neighbor across the way asked if I knew anybody in our neighborhood who could come over and clean her house every Saturday. And I was like, I can. And she thought I was like way too young. And she's like, do you think you have to ask your mom and dad? And I was like, probably, because I've never met you before.
Because it was illegal child labor.
So
but that went away in the 1920s or something.
So she came over, introduced herself to my family, and then I went to her house, and she just basically showed me what she wanted me to do, which was basically she had a 3-bedroom condo. It was vacuuming, cleaning the kitchen floor, bathroom floors, just polishing over, whatever it was. So I did that job from the time I was 9 until I was a freshman year in high school. So it lasted a very long time, and it was easy because she was a very clean lady, so it wasn't that bad. So that was my very first job.
Should we talk about what we do now?
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I have been a lawyer for a very long time. And at some point I wised up and decided that there are better ways to make money with a law degree than actually practicing law. So after 29 years of being basically a business litigator, I went to court, I got a job working for my current company, which is Thomson Reuters. If Reuters sounds familiar, yes, it's the world famous news agency, but the company is huge and has a lot of different parts. The part of the business that I work for is called Practical Law, and I am a senior legal editor. I write and edit stuff for lawyers, which is a lot more fun than actually being a lawyer. So it's nice work if you can get it. I work from home. I've worked from home for the last 4 years.
And we've been coworkers for 6 months.
Yes.
Also working from home.
Thanks to the deadly pandemic.
I have this coworker. No,
There's a lot more people in my office than there used to be.
And then I thought I would talk about probably...
You don't want to talk about your job?
Oh, yeah, my current job.
You don't have to.
No, I forgot.
You don't
We're
have
doing
to.
So
we don't have a script. We just wing it.
Yeah, this is just live and in action. So we currently, I work at the largest architecture firm in the world, and it's called Gensler. And I've been there 6 years, and I've done many different jobs, mostly executive assistant, but currently I am in public relations, and I am a public relations coordinator, and I work directly with the head of the firm-wide PR for the whole firm. So it's very fun, outstanding, so lucky. It's great. So I'm very happy. We're both really happy with our jobs right now.
Absolutely. And you've never once pretended to be an architect like George Costanza.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
I don't go in meetings and just suggest
Art
things.
Vandelay.
Yeah.
Right. You've never done that. I like to say I worked for 29 years before I joined Thomson Reuters, and I started out at a very big law firm, big for the time. In 1987, there were 300 lawyers at Jenner and Block, the first firm that I worked for, and then I moved to like a medium-sized firm, and then I moved to a firm that had like 10 to 12 lawyers. Eventually, I was a partner in that firm, and then after about 8 years, I got the brilliant idea to start my own practice. So I went out on my own. So I kind of went from larger to smaller organizations, but I went up in the hierarchy each time. So eventually I got to the point where it was just me.
Right.
And that's not a great idea. That's just not a good idea at all. Kids, Don't try this.
Yeah,
at
don't
home.
take that advice.
So what was your first like real job? I mean, not that it wasn't a real job cleaning
Yeah.
the old lady's house, but I mean,
which is actually, I was just thinking about this.
like
is-
W-2 type job.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this because this is probably why I like HGTV so much and The House Hunters. That's going to be a separate episode.
But we complain about all the reality shows we watch.
I for the longest time wanted to sell real estate, and but you can't sell real estate in Illinois or pretty much anywhere until you're 21. So I worked before I was 21 at a real estate office to see if that was something that I was interested in. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. I love this. And so I got my real estate license, started at a Century 21 orange jacket, the whole shebang.
Gold.
Yeah. And really, the first 6 months, I would say, it was just cold calling people. So that was their advice to me. It's horrible advice, and obviously real estate has changed with all the technology. But basically, for 6 months, I would call people and say, "Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm calling from Century 21. Are you interested in selling your home now or in the near future?" And they would say no. I'm like, "Do you have any friends and family who are interested in selling their house now or in the near future?" And they would say no. And I would hang up, and I would just keep calling. Then finally, one day, I said, "Are you interested in selling your house now or in the near future?" And somebody said yes. And then I was like, I don't know how to answer. What do I?
Now what?
Yeah, what am I supposed to do?
It's like getting a really big fish on a line, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
So I was like, can you hang
on?
on for a second? And so I put the person on hold, and I was like, somebody wants to sell their house. And the person who was my trainer, he was like, well, set up an appointment. We'll go over there. Well, we did, and it turns out that this person was like 70s, late 70s. He'd lived in his house for 50 years. He was not anywhere close. He just wanted somebody to come over. So didn't work. And I tried it for a little over a year, I want to say, but in our town, we still live in the same town. It's obviously pricey, and none of my friends had any money. So it was very hard, and it's very cutthroat. So very, competitive with the real estate thing. So that didn't work out, and I moved on. Thank goodness.
My first job was in the public library, reshelving books. There's an exciting job.
I would like that though.
Well, I will tell you this. The one skill that I got from that job, I think, was how to organize stuff. So I have very organized files on my computer. You can always find, if I either win the lottery and just take off or die,
somebody could pick up.
I'll always be able to find stuff on my computer because it's
mine
all
would just
very
be on my
organized.
desktop.
Yeah. I pride myself on having nothing on my desktop.
And I have like 1,000 things on my desktop, so it's the opposite of us.
So, what was your worst job? Although that may have been it, but let's talk about worst job.
Well, I did another crazy job, which was commission only, working for a marketing agency, and miraculously, 30 other people thought that they wanted to do this job too. So we would meet in the morning, and basically it was going cold calling, like door to door in industrial parks, in offices and things like that. And it was selling tickets for comedy clubs. You could buy 20 tickets for $20, hair salon coupons and things like that. And then just doing that, and then actually going to different states to do that. So I went to Indianapolis, I went to Fort Lauderdale. It was hard.
You got to travel.
It was hard. It was literally like just going door to door and just hoping that people would buy tickets. So that was bad.
My worst was also in sales. Which, there were actually two. I think it might have been the same summer. Our friend Joel, I've been friends with Joel.
Do you guys know him?
Yeah, Joel knows everybody. We've been at concerts and we run into people we've never met before.
Yes.
And they say, "Oh, do you know Joel?" So everybody knows Joel.
Yeah.
So you probably do. But Joel and I had two different telephone sales jobs. One was very similar, selling coupon books and you always think, oh, everybody wants something like that. Nobody wants
No.
it. Nobody wants it.
Zero.
And the other was trying to sell.
Was that commission only, or did you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it was. I'll have to check with Joel. But the other one was selling season tickets to the Goodman Theater in Chicago, which is a world-class legitimate theater. But the people we were calling, we had these sheets of people to call, they were all people who had season tickets and canceled. So I mean, sometimes it was kind of maybe it was a financial thing,
True.
and so they might be interested in re-upping later on. But a lot of times it was like, I'm not doing that again. That's a waste of money. And it's no offense to the Goodman, great theater, great company, but the people we were calling just were not particular. They'd already said no, essentially.
That's so funny. It's
Yeah.
like, could you call these people and please see if they'll come
Yeah,
back?
it was fun because we took the L downtown
I
and we
don't
got
think
to
I
hang
knew
out.
that story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, I blame Joel. but and the best part was,
Did anybody say yes?
so I had a friend. In maybe once or twice. I had a friend in college who he was from the Chicago suburbs. I didn't realize that my friend Rob had an identical twin brother. And his identical twin brother was at the job at the Goodman Theater. I had no idea. I walk in, I'm like, hey, Rob. And he's like, and he played it off brilliant. He's like, I'm not Rob. He knew that I thought he was his identical twin. Then we hit it off great. But the problem was, if I was on the phone with somebody, he would pretend to be on the phone and he'd just start like making wisecracks and stuff like that to try to ruin my sale, which
Yeah.
he did on a few occasions.
That's funny.
But yeah, well, that was hilarious. And at the end of the summer, I still was not 100% sure it really was a twin. But it turns out it was.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. That was worse actually than working at the Burger King one summer.
Oh yeah,
That was not a fun
That's got to
job.
be high up there.
Fast food jobs are terrible.
Yeah, and I forgot about the 7 years I worked at bars and restaurants part
yeah.
time. So that's
Right.
also good experience in the kitchen and bartending and stuff, but late hours.
And they were working when they would have quarter beers, so no one would tip because what do
Yeah.
you tip on a $1 tab?
0.
Yeah, I bought
Yeah.
a round of drinks.
Actually, we'll have to do that for a second one because we met at a bar
We did meet
across
at
the
a bar.
street from where I worked.
We
So
did meet. That is a true
that'll
story.
we'll have to do a separate episode of how we met.
Well, absolutely. So,
Yeah, so we just thought we'd share some fun facts about our careers and work and things like that. Leave a comment below about fun jobs you had or crazy or what your dream job would be.
and we'll leave you with a little clip of the Clash song "Career Opportunities," because even though they're not American, they're British, whatever. It kind of fits the theme.
It counts.
It counts.
See you next time.
Good night.